now, so I'm not going to be able to
That's the cue. Yeah, no more behind the scenes stuff. We're actually live, and I understand that. Who knows? I mean, you guys will probably watch this either on the replay or watch it live. I'm not sure what. I know Next Gen apparently has decided to do a podcast tonight at exactly the same time. And oh, cool! I tweeted out my that this is going live in some kind of language. It's not even Spanish. It's like Arabic or something. Cool. Uh, that's interesting. I still had people bugging me last week about telling people, the PlayStation 4 owners, that I met their moms at the Donkey Bar. So yeah, that was interesting. That went over really well. I meant to look it up actually and translate between English to Spanish, but oh well, I'll do that some other time. But anyway, just so you guys know, doing a little podcast of my own on Wednesdays. Looks like the days that I'll be doing that, and I'm trying to like finalize a team. Looks I got a good thing going with like Mooch, who's about to start his channel, so he'll need all the kind of exposure he can get. Too Much Food, who has been with us for a few weeks now and has done a really good job, and Dealer Gaming. What's up, Dealer?
Not much, brother. Good to be
And
here.
and he is, one of the up and coming YouTubers, and
Up and coming asshole.
yeah, exactly. And well, hey, join the club, man. Join the club. And it's a
Hey, you told the
situation.
truth. You're a fucking asshole.
Yeah, oh, exactly, right. I mean, dude, that's the way it is. That's just the way it is, man. You tell the truth, or you be non-politically correct about the truth, and you're the bad guy. You're an asshole. You're a jerk. You're this. You're that, and then everybody will, try to hate on you or quote unquote expose you or whatever. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is. Like,
Yeah.
I've learned to kind of roll with it. It's actually kind of helped me out a little bit. But anyway, just so to head off any kind of rumors or anything like that, no, BGST, Big Gamer Small Talk, is still the main thing that I do. I was originally going to do two. We were going to do one on my channel a week, one on Next Gens, but I noticed that the content was a little bit sparse, and I like the more organic kind of back and forth when we get together on that, on that one day, and then we bounce, you know what I'm saying, instead of like doubling the topics with every, you know what I'm saying. A lot of the times it was the same stuff for two different shows. So I think that it's an interesting situation where I could put together something a little bit different, maybe with some up and coming YouTubers, and hopefully that's what this is, and hopefully you guys enjoy it, and hopefully it's just as compelling and fun, and we're gonna get a good amount of talking about a lot of relevant topics and things like that. So anyway, we got Mooch, we got Too Much Food, we got Dealer Gaming. Welcome to you guys. First thing I want to talk about, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this, but the Scalebound developer bitching about Microsoft. I believe his name is Kamaya, and apparently he is super pissed off at Microsoft because Microsoft wants him to do a they actually want him to go up on stage, I guess, and like demo the game and stuff. So he's pissed off about that. He's pissed off about the advertising that Microsoft has done. This guy's kind of a dick. I mean, I'm not going to hate, but I mean, look, this is the thing about this game. Before anybody starts off on, is this game in jeopardy or any of that? Microsoft owns this IP, so this guy basically is Microsoft's butt monkey and has to
I
do
got a
what he tells him
question.
to do.
I got a question for you, Crap. How pissed off was he last Friday when he cashed his check?
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good
Yeah.
point. I would assume that this guy, he's a dick to everybody. I think he blocks everybody. I remember him blocking Iron Wolf or whatever, and Iron Wolf kind of being mad about this a few
He
months ago.
blocked me because I just all I did was either mention him in something, not even retort, nothing to retort with him or anything like that. It was just I mentioned him in reference to the game, and he blocked me. And I mean, then he went on a blocking rampage. If you guys remember right, that week he blocked everybody. I'm shocked he didn't block Phil Spencer. Like,
Here's
anybody that
his
put his name.
He blocked himself.
Yeah,
Blocking
here's
everyone.
his exact tweet. Apparently, hold on, my computer's acting weird. Hold on. He says, if I were to go to Gamescom, I want to go for users, not as a prop of the Xbox briefing.
What the fuck?
I mean,
So
yeah, I mean,
are
look,
users not on Xbox?
I mean, yeah, and then somebody messages him, and then he responds to him. This guy, he goes, Microsoft fucked up like always. Wonder how this will affect Scalebound. Gabe might be in serious trouble. And then he replies to that dude, better than your life, or whatever. I mean, this guy is like kind of a douche. I mean, I don't get it. Is he being like an
Does he
asshole?
not realize
Like,
that his game is only on the Xbox, and
you know what?
he's gonna work for Microsoft as a result?
I don't know. If I were Microsoft, I'd be reining
Not
this
for
guy in
longer.
a little bit. Yeah, I mean, come on, look. Let's be honest here. Platinum Games, they do good work, but thus far, they haven't done commercial successful work. And Microsoft, this partnership was all about that. And so for them to kind of bite the hand that feeds you, and then you know what? You know why this makes this even worse is because it's always in line with what happens to Microsoft. Microsoft has this whole quote unquote look about them that they're not friendly to developers and this and that and the other thing. All Microsoft wants this guy to do is be at Gamescom and demo this game in front of people. That's
the game
what you
that
do.
they're paying you to fucking make and develop, by the way. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly, and that they're gonna market, and the whole partnership, quote unquote, was basically put together because they wanted American success, right? And Microsoft, has the means to market and sell games like that, and so now this guy's pissed off because he actually has to do his job.
Let me just get this off my chest. So, Sony at E3 grabbed the developer of Shenmue, showed him walking around the streets of Japan like a pauper, begging people for food, him walking around with his hands in his pocket like he's a starving artist, dragged him on stage, held him there like a puppet, used him to collect $6.5 million on a Kickstarter. Microsoft wants to praise this guy, put him on a pedestal, and say this is the product that we're putting out next year, and this guy's offended?
I think
And
honestly,
Sony is okay to drag that guy through. They dragged him from Japan, basically grabbed him horse collar and dragged him from Japan onto that stage, made the man look like a fool. But everybody was like,
Yeah, they gave him the slow clap.
somebody got a clap and a fucking match. Like this is what I keep
nationalist.
talking about. This is what I keep talking about. Exactly, food. This is what I keep talking about over and over again, and people want to use other terms about what I'm talking about when they don't understand what those terms mean. This is the bullshit that I'm talking about. Anybody that's listening that's an American citizen, this is the crap and the prejudice that you're seeing coming from the Japanese people downwards, and they're feeding it down through their society, and this man who sits in Japan, this is what he's going to say, because he's probably getting ridiculed at home because he's working for an American company and getting an American paycheck. Well, I got news for you. If he doesn't want the paycheck, tell Phil Spencer, I don't want your paycheck. Send it back. We'll hire somebody else. Believe me, there's a lot of hungry developers out there. This guy's a son of a gun. I'll tell you right now, this is why I tell people, go out and grab an Xbox One, like support America, because I'll be honest with you, they don't care about us over there. They really don't. And I hate to bring it down to this, but this is the stuff you're seeing. I'm just putting it in black and white. These guys are doing it subliminally. Like, I don't want to be held up on stage like a puppet.
You want to know? Okay, like that part pissed me off. But here's what he said. He said he called Microsoft's attempts at marketing the game as generic and junk.
They haven't even begun fully.
They haven't even
marketing it.
Exactly.
we
It doesn't
haven't
have
even
a
seen
release
anything.
yet. What the fuck?
We haven't even really seen anything for
All
Halo.
we seen was CG.
Yeah, so why would we see marketing for this game, which is going to be next year sometime?
Bro, this
when
guy, he really doesn't. He's not happy with them, and I honestly think it's just him being nationalist because, think about it. Like you just said, we haven't even seen much for Halo, so he pretty much wants his game with no release date, with no gameplay out, no documentary, to have more commercials than Halo, that's coming out this year.
Yeah, I mean the whole point of Gamescom isn't it to help advertise your game?
What a
I mean, is he at least like a creative director or somebody over there?
Hold on, I'm gonna see what his stuff's all in. Okay, he's a game designer with Platinum Games. Apparently he's done Devil May Cry, Beautiful Joe, Okami, Bayonetta, The Wonderful 101. I'm not sure. So he's basically
I take him off the
designer.
project.
I think it's time for him to shut the fuck up and realize that, hey, your game doesn't have a release date. We haven't even seen gameplay footage. You probably shouldn't be bitching about advertising when they haven't even started.
See,
Especially
you know how,
what
like,
Microsoft owns.
some people try to reach, or some people try to reach as far as finding bad news with Microsoft and Xbox. I feel like this is what he's doing. He has nothing really concrete to complain about. He's very unhappy with them just for being an American company. So he's just like, they're not they don't have any commercials. They're not what's the word? promoting us.
Yeah. Well,
He's just
well,
looking
you know
for
what's interesting about this, right? Is you know, like I go to N4G to get some topics sometimes or see what's going on, and then they always have their hot list, and it's like that's the number one thing. Kimuya or whatever, Kamaya, I'm not even care if I say his name wrong, fuck it, is pissed off at Microsoft, right? That's the number one thing. And then on the fifth story is Microsoft wants you to pay for solitaire in Windows, right? Like, who cares? Why is that a relevant topic that they want? Well, they don't want you to. You can get rid of ads if you pay like $1 something a month. I mean, how is that like a reason to hate on them at this particular juncture? You know what I mean? It's
reaching.
like,
They're
yeah,
looking for
it's
anything.
what it is, and you know why? It's because Gamescom is right around the corner, and precious Sony doesn't have anything to show or talk about. You know, I'm still gonna like I mean, I wash my hands of this whole situation if any media outlet says Sony wins Gamescom because they're not doing a presser. But guess what? There's still gonna be third parties that are gonna
They
be
still
promoting
have some of
their
their
games.
staffers there collecting
Bro,
cans.
they're
to
looking
pay the
for
bills.
anything.
Exactly. So it's like
That
it's
motherfucker collected the fuck out of some
Bro.
cans.
They're seriously checking between the cushions of their couch looking for problems,
right,
man.
like the funny thing was right. I haven't been to N4G in a little while, so I went there, right, and it was down earlier today. People were DDoSing the site, and then when it finally did allow me to connect, one of the things was, is Microsoft afraid of new IP, right? So the first thing I did, right, I was like, I've never really felt compelled enough to create a new account there, so I created one, right, called Big Gamer Small Talk. That's the name of the account. And I commented on here, and I listed all these new IP that Microsoft has announced or released since the Xbox One. It's far more than either Nintendo or Sony have come out with, right? I mean, Nintendo, realistically, and I'm a Nintendo fan, they're the ones that stick to the older IP. You know what I mean? Splatoon being and the success of Splatoon, which good for them, really shows that they should step out of their box a little bit more and mess with new IP. You know, but Sony, on the other hand, their new IP has been Knack and Drive Club so far this generation. I guess you could say the order, but the only thing in coincidence between those three things is they suck.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that's
You know
the thing.
what I mean?
Even if both sides have released equal AAA exclusives, first party, they're all dog shit on the PS4 except for two, and that's what I just can't seem to drill into people's heads. It's insane.
Yeah, like you've seen the list, right? I'm sure I'll get it at some point. Like, it's this list of a bunch of games that nobody's heard of for the PS4, and then they're like, but look, there's more. And I'm like, okay, well, guess what? I'll take Halo all day and twice on Sundays. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah, well, I heard they're remaking Echo the Dolphin on the PS4. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, seriously.
And yesterday they made a big deal about Dragon Quest. And let's be honest, that's not selling in the States. It's
Can
just
I be
not.
honest?
Yeah, maybe a
Somebody
couple
messaged me.
keyboard heroes on Twitter will, but
yeah, like somebody messaged me. They go, "Can you believe Sony fanboys are saying that this is an Xbox killer?" And I says, one, okay, I might be showing a little bit of ignorance of myself. I've never heard of this game before. You know, I'm an American. Maybe that has something to do with it. That's just, I've never heard of it. You know, I've heard like maybe there's different quests out there. There's like King's Quest or something, and some other quests, and you know what I mean. So like maybe it's got lost in the shuffle. But at the same time, I've never heard of it. And if it's a JRPG, how is that going to kill an American-centric North American product?
It is.
You know?
It's very niche, and coming from people where your biggest exclusive of the year is a beta that don't work, I'm not surprised at all.
Look, the only game that had that potential appeal was Final Fantasy, and you know, Microsoft threw enough money at them to make sure that Final Fantasy 13 landed on the Xbox 360. So that potential storm has been passed, and it's over with. You know, that's not going to happen.
right.
Yeah, well, it's interesting to me, just because the reach that goes on, right? Like with the damage control, and another thing was, right, and I've bitched about this a lot. People think that I'm crazy. Rise of the Tomb Raider was getting no press, no love, no anything when it was a Microsoft exclusive.
I know. Now it is.
Now
that's why I did that video.
It's coming to the PS4 a year later. Oh, all of a sudden, IGN and them, that's their pick for the podcast Beyond, and thanks for beta testing it for us, Xbox
to be honest
guys.
with you, this might actually, what we all, and myself included, you know, when you've made an inaccurate comment, I'll tell you, this may have been a negative a couple of days ago, but as the media continues to pick it up, People see things. There's two things people look at. When they see something, they start to get more intrigued. And then it's going to get deeper and deeper. Now, the PlayStation, they know they're going to get it. Like you said, the media's opened up to it. That's a good thing. Number two, people who say, well, I'm not going to get it. I'm going to wait a year. Well, slowly, as you keep feeding these small bites, all the way up until release date in November, they're going to want to purchase this thing. So maybe, just maybe, this little thing that looked like a bad thing for Microsoft PR might end up in more sales. I mean, it's the only time will tell.
Well, you know what? In Big Gamer Small Talk on Sunday, I mentioned something like this. I said, look, a lot of people are thinking this is bad, but take a look at it from this angle. A lot of Sony fanboys and gamers in general thought that this game would come to PS4 within 3 to 6 months. That's maybe waitable. A year is something that probably, if you're a big fan, it's not really worth it. And not only that, again, it's not like many people were gonna buy an Xbox One strictly for Tomb Raider, but it's the intangibles of saying, well, that Rare Replay looks good. Do you know how many people I've seen say Rare Replay looks really good? Like, they're jealous of that. Like, and I get it, because it's 30 games for $30, and all of them, while they're not like quote-unquote remade or anything, you can play all of them in widescreen, so there's no black borders. They're saying that they could even do more games as DLC. Sure, I mean, I wish they would have got Donkey Kong permission from Nintendo, but Nintendo was like, nope.
Well, there's a double side to this. The Rare Replay is going to be successful for two counts, in my opinion. You've got people that are mine, and I don't know dealer's age, but me and Crap, our age group, for us it's a nostalgia thing, a reminder of what it was that we grew up playing and how much we enjoyed it, and to be able to see it come back, even if it's just slightly enhanced, nothing like ridiculous.
Yeah. Like widescreen, I'm happy with widescreen.
Absolutely.
And some,
The other thing is that I have a lot of people that work in my office that are in their mid-20s that really just they never really play these games. They're well aware of what they are. They've seen them on YouTube, but they don't know. They've never actually experienced them. And I think what it does is I think it's going to be almost like the grout, okay, when you're sealing tile. This may be the one thing that brings the younger, the 25 to 30, closer to the 30 to 35, because by these 30 games coming into everybody's home, they'll play them, they'll experience them, and they'll be like, oh, now when we say, hey, that platformer, which reminded me a lot of Battletoads, or that reminded me a lot of Conquer, they'll say, oh, yeah, I remember that. Actually, I played Rare Replay 2 years ago. I beat those two games. You're right. That is what that is. Where right now, they don't really understand all the games we grew up with, like Bionic Commando and Contra, and I mean, you can go on and on. The Mega Man. No, everyone knows what Mega Man was, but I mean, I played Mega Man till my hands bled. So I mean, like, they don't understand like the stuff that we kind of grew up with. And I think that those two count. So you've got the older crowd, which is going to get it for the nostalgia, but it also has the younger folks that are going to come in and be like, wow, this is what you guys play? That's kind of neat. I kind of like that. It doesn't mean they're going to sit there and beat all 30 games. That's not the point. They're not going to get a 10,000 gamer score. But they'll experience the games. And Crap, you know this. A lot of times when we were younger, we didn't really play all those games to finish. They were hard as hell.
Yeah, well, especially like Battletoads, you get 50 gamer score for beating the tunnel level of Battletoads, which, if any of you guys remember, that level was like
well-deserved.
Frustratingly hard. But the interesting thing that this could do is, in my opinion, is revive some of the IPs like Viva Pinata that were really good on the 360, Cameo, which was really good. Hopefully people get to play these for the first time. You know what I mean? Cameo was one of my favorite games on the 360. Yeah, it sounds gay, but it really was. It was a good little colorful platformer. You go back and play it, like, it's backwards compatible. And you'll see what I'm talking about. It's very colorful. It's got a lot of enemies going on at the screen at the same time. It's got a very cool story and a cool premise where you can like change between the different types or whatever to complete certain aspects.
A game I never played, Crap, that you did a review on. I believe I watched your review. So if it wasn't, correct me. But it's not Vince. Excuse me. That's Phil Spencer's
Voodoo Vince.
Voodoo Vince.
Yeah, Voodoo Vince is really good.
That's a game I was kind of hoping that kind of hits the but that was the original OG Xbox.
Yeah, that was the original Xbox, and it wasn't Rare. Rare did
no, it was not.
Like the games that people should play. If like you were to ask me, play Blast Corps. That was an N64 game, really fun. Play Grab by the Ghoulies, a really underrated original Xbox game that nobody bought. I think Conker's going to be on there. Yeah. Play that because that's a blast. Oh, yeah. Play Battletoads. Play Viva Pinata, play Cameo, play Perfect Dark. Yes, play these games and see, you know what I mean? Like people, this is the thing I worry about. Like we were talking about Tim Dog, shout out to him. He was talking about what the Metacritic score will be for this, and I said, well, you have to factor in. Isn't it sad that you have to factor in that Microsoft gets a negative press. Like you'll hear something about, well, this was rare back before Microsoft ruined them. How many people will agree that we're going to see that in a lot of reviews?
Oh yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
You know,
Yeah,
at least Microsoft didn't go around buying studio and then, put out a failed game with that studio and then completely just sell the studio off or lay them all off constantly like Sony does.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. I mean, look, Sony. Look what happened to them. Exactly. Good point.
That's what they've been doing. They've been selling their studios.
Zipper
Oh, you made a
Interactive.
shitty game. I'm gonna sell
Yeah,
you.
exactly. Zipper Interactive were the ones that did SOCOM. After SOCOM 2, I think Sony purchased them, or it might have been after SOCOM 3. And then after that point, all their games were bad. Mag,
Went straight
SOCOM
to hell,
4.
yeah.
And then they disbanded them. You know, they just were like, hey, we're done.
You know, and to
What
bring
is
this
that
kind
game-
of
what is
back
that
to the
game
whole
that they
Tomb
just
Raider
launched?
thing.
Go ahead, dealer.
So to bring this back to the Tomb Raider thing, a lot of people are pissed about this. I myself never thought in a million years it would be an X1 exclusive for the long haul, but you know there are a lot of people just like last generation that are going to buy both of these consoles, of course, right? And I think this is just another way to get those people that would have waited a year or so to do it this year. Buy it now, to close that gap so I can get them software sales up there as well.
Exactly. A lot of people were looking at it like, oh, well, PS4 owners aren't going to. But, well, you know what? I also think that maybe
some of them
Microsoft
motherfuckers are. They lying.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Trust me, I know all about the Sony fanboy lies, dude. They're known for it. But a lot of them, the real hardcore ones, I don't know if they'll ever get it. You know what I mean? I've never seen a group of gamers that were so like against a certain thing that they won't get it, right? Like me, I own all of them this generation. I owned all of them last generation, the time before that, the time before that. You know, I do just because I always have a saying that there's nothing exclusive from me. You know what I mean? If there's something that's good, I'll get it and play it. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that I'm considered like the ultimate fanboy, and yet there's people out there that won't do what I've done, which is buy all the consoles to play all the games that interest you.
That's how it should be too. You know, I might get a PS4 if Uncharted 4 is decent. I loved Uncharted 1 and 2.
Exactly.
Uncharted 3 sucked. But if
See,
Uncharted 4
I'm
is
glad
good,
somebody agrees with me that Uncharted 3 was terrible. It was pretty bad.
Everyone should. I mean, we're not all that Greg guy from IGN that gives it a 10 out of 10 when it blows dog balls.
You rock, dude, because you remember that asshole gave it a 10 out of 10. And there was so many glitches in that game. I had to restart points and things like that. It was really the shooting mechanics were bad. They broke the multiplayer, which was actually on part 2 was okay. You know, it was a decent little, 15, 20 minutes here or there. And then part 3, they ruined it. You know what I'm saying? And then what's really interesting is a lot of times I get called, oh, crap gamer, you're a liar, you're this, you're that, you're misinformation and that. You know, a lot of the times I've mentioned things that have come to pass and not really gotten the credit for it. I remember saying over a year ago that Uncharted 4 would get delayed into 2016. And the reason being was they had a lot of layoffs and turnover at Naughty Dog. Come to find out, that put the game back over a year. So, I mean, I ended up being right about that. I'm hoping
at least
the game's
that's what
good.
they say. I personally think that they just told people it was coming out sooner than it was, just like they're doing with The Last Guardian. They say that's coming out next year. We all know it's not going to come out next year.
That's
They're
right.
doing that to try
exactly.
to say, hang on, don't sell your PS4s. We got some shit for you coming. Please.
Yeah.
You know?
Does anyone
Well, I said it when we. Go ahead, Crap.
I was going to say, does anyone in here actually think that The Last Guardian is coming out next year?
Absolutely not. I said when we did a Big Gamer Small Talk predictions of E3, and you guys can all go back and watch. I said what Sony's going to do is they're going to put still frames or short CGI clips up and say coming. Like who's going to say whether or not that's the truth? I mean, coming soon, or you could say nowadays postponed or delayed is just a common term in gaming. So they could put 2016 holiday, and then it gets pushed to 2017 spring, 2017 holiday. They can push it wherever they want, and they can say whatever they want. Guys, it's very easy to make a CGI. Okay, it's not hard to make a small cap movie for something like that. Play it, let everybody clap, faint in the aisles, and then it's just wow. Sony just put on a hell of a show. But listen to the words. They put on a hell of a show. That's all they put on. They didn't give you games. Microsoft showed gameplay on everything except I think Recore. You know what I mean? Like, it was just what I just cannot believe. I mean, this is just proving to me that we have like a mass amount of lemmings in this country. Like, what are we actually staring at? Are you being fooled by the guy? No, it's the wizard behind the curtain. Well, come out behind the fucking curtain now. Like, let's see what you got. You don't got shit.
Did you see how easily appeased the
Sorry about that.
PlayStation 4 owners are, right? They're really appeased by smoke and mirrors because, look, what did we say before? And we said they'd probably show The Last Guardian. They showed the exact same stuff that they showed 6, 7 years ago, and it wasn't live, and there's no firm release date, right? So
That's what I
if
was
you're a
thinking. Was
gamer
that the
now,
exact same piece of
it's the
gameplay?
exact
To a
same,
T.
That's what I was
To
thinking
a
about
T.
right
Yeah.
before you said that. It
Right?
looked almost exactly the same.
And then afterwards they're like, well, we hope to have it out by next year. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and then you're like, you hope? Are you serious? You know what I'm saying? It's a
Like, yeah, we
different
got
development
Mark
team.
Cerny with us. He did
Yeah.
great games like Knack.
Like
and,
Knack. And,
Knack
yeah, I mean,
and Marble Madness.
and
Thanks.
Knack.
So, I mean,
Don't forget Knack.
yeah, and Knack. I mean, what a great game.
Listen,
Right?
listen. These
He
guys.
did
Then
fine
you've
in
got.
Knack.
Yeah.
Then
Oh
you've
my
got
God,
the
that's
media.
like.
The media is preaching the fact that Horizon game is going to come out possibly next year. Here's what I'm saying. Okay, take another Mooch prediction that only time will tell. I'm either going to be a king in 12 months or chased out of YouTube. Listen, here's my thing. Literally, they're going to say. They said that Horizon may come out next year. Uncharted 4 has been shown CGI since 2013, and when the dude took the stage this year, it froze again. Okay, so it froze after the third year at E3. Horizon is made by Guerrilla Games, which is no Naughty Dog, and I'll tell you right now, they are not. That game is minimum holiday 2017, if not spring 2018.
Hey guys, you know what? We need to learn from the masters at IGN, right? Like a lot of people say we're damage control experts or this or that. Jamie Moran just tweeted me because he watched that Podcast Beyond, and their whole Podcast Beyond was about them damage controlling Sony not going to Gamescom. This was an actual quote. Paris Game Show could be huge, so they don't need Gamescom, according to Podcast Beyond. I mean, doesn't that just pander to... I mean, seriously, that's like the most retarded thing I've ever heard in my life. It's totally pandering to their fan base because their fan base are gullible enough to believe that bullshit, right?
You know, I
Like,
heard
hey-
one outlet saying it was a good thing that Uncharted froze.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
it's a good thing because it shows that it was in real time.
Yeah, yeah. I
That's
mean,
bullshit,
you know what?
dude.
Hey, there's also...
I hope it
there's
freezes in real time when I'm playing it at home.
Yeah.
What's
I mean,
bullshit
that's
is
always
that
a good thing.
they're eating that shit up. Like Kotaku, they didn't even mention that it froze, and Kotaku put out an article saying, "Look at the mud." And literally, their whole article was about how amazing the mud in Nathan Drake's Uncharted Fortune looked like. They're grasping on straws. They're really trying really hard. But what's frustrating is that they're talking about games that are coming out next year, but they refuse to talk about what's coming out this year. It just baffles me that they're doing their best to set up their fan base that reads their articles, goes on their site, to start thinking already in their mind about next year. They don't want them to worry about this year. They want
You're a
them
bunch
to
of dick
already
clickers,
past it.
man. It's a bunch of bullshit.
It's really bad, dude. Even
You know,
Nintendo has more games coming out than them.
That's a good thing. Not only that, too much food, but I'll say this much: like Nintendo might, I would say like Star Fox is supposed to come out this year. Splatoon was out this year. Those two games alone are better than anything Sony's put out all year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're looking for like a secondary console and you're an Xbox One owner, you could get some unique stuff with that. But definitely, like my PS4 is packed up, my Wii U's not. So I mean that says it all.
And,
You know what I mean? Look, I got a PS4. I got a PS4 for Uncharted 4, right? I was like holding out hope that it would come out this year. I got a really good deal on it, or I probably would have waited. They're basically giving them things away with like that PS TV and a bunch of PlayStation Plus and like 2 and 3 games now. You know what I mean? Anybody that thinks that they're not doing discounts in the U.S. is crazy. Every single week there's some kind of deal up for like $350 with the free this and free games and free that. You know what I mean? And so I think that it's a situation where they're doing their best to combat what Microsoft is doing, and they've been doing a good job. I'll give them that as far as not having games, but then advertising things like exclusives. Like I was at GameStop the other day just looking around, and you can still, like Battlefront, like PlayStation is advertised on that. You know what I mean? Call of Duty, PlayStation's advertised on that. So people, stupid people, mind you, will will fall for this kind of crap. You know what I mean? I like the whole Batman thing. You could get Batman on Xbox One. It played fine, but people bought it on PlayStation. So that was actually a smart move by Sony to do that. But again, they seem to. What kind of annoys me is they do that when they don't have first-party stuff, right? I mean, last year they did it with the hell is that terrible game Destiny, and then this year it's going to be Battlefront, Call of Duty,
I know people that thought Destiny was only on PlayStation.
I did too.
Yeah, it's horrible, and you're right. That was one of the most overrated, misadvertised games of all, like the last 15 years to me.
Do you guys think? Okay, like, go ahead, Mooch.
It's a lot cheaper, crap. It's a lot cheaper to just purchase the rights to either market or even do what Microsoft did with Tomb Raider. Because remember, guys, we're forgetting about the underlying costs of having a first party that you own. When you when you own a 343, okay, or a Coalition, you're not just paying for the, God almighty, 25 to whatever $1 million it costs for the production and the labor. You got to pay for the building. You got to pay for the heat, the electric, the this, that. Sony doesn't have that kind of money. So the reason Sony goes up to something like Rocksteady and says, or 2K or whoever it is, I forgot who the publisher was. And you say, listen, why don't we do this? We'll give you $15 million for the marketing rights, so we can stamp the Batman on the PS4 for a few months. That's actually, people always say, why don't they actually put that money into their own game? If you take the Batman deal, if you take probably even the I'm going to go a bit stretch here, Call of Duty deal, the Battlefront deal, you take those three, okay, what they got coming out this year as far as their marketing deals, those three together probably equal somewhere around what 343's total upkeep is for cost for Microsoft for the year, because Microsoft's paying for, it's more than just the production of the game, and Sony is broke. They can't. They've got the $15 million to shoot, but guess what? It's kind of like when you rent an apartment, right? Like someone comes in, I go to Crap's apartment, he says, "Whoa, wow, holy shit, Crap, this is amazing, beautiful apartment you got. How much is this a month?" You're like, $2,500. But the owner's actually paying $2.5 million to keep the grounds up, okay, to keep your roof from collapsing if you're in a snow area. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, there's types of things that, like,
Random
that Microsoft's paying for. And we don't talk about that in the gaming world. So when people are like, how come Sony doesn't just take that money and throw it into a game? Well, the reason is they're breaking down their first party teams. They don't have them anymore because they can't afford them. So
yeah, well,
go ahead.
Well,
Chris.
I just want to reiterate something, right? Like, Sony Santa Monica, who does God of War, they were doing a game, a shooter, sci-fi shooter similar to Destiny, like a MMO type, quote unquote Halo killer. That was going to be exclusive. Then they canceled it and laid off a bunch of people at that studio. You guys remember that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Absolutely.
over half the studio got laid off. Like that didn't get a lot of bad press, like it should have, because Sony would rather spend marketing rights to get, Destiny, as opposed to having their own first party sort of game like that. You know what I mean? So it's like that's the Sony that you're dealing with nowadays. Like a lot of people still are like in that denial mode where they think Sony will come out with exclusives. Sony will come out with exclusives like the PS3, like the PS3, like the PS3, and they're trying to talk themselves into that, and it's not happening.
Sony did that with 3 or 4 different companies in the past 18 months where they broke them down, either put them to half staff or crushed them completely, and it got no bad media. Where Microsoft, here's an ironic piece, everybody. Microsoft took Phantom Dust, said that it's not dead. First of all, it's an OG Xbox game that Phil's doing for the nostalgia, for the the old timers really enjoy an old game. All he did was remove it from. I don't think he cared for the quality of work he was getting from the studio. He just pulled it, shelved it, and said, "We're going to give it to somebody more competent." That's, he's got to be careful because he's in PR. He does that, and Microsoft's the devil. I mean, this is what we're dealing with. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, there's no bad press for breaking down 3 or 4 companies, but then there's ridiculous amounts of bad press for Microsoft just looking for a better developer.
It is. It's ridiculous, the amount of nostalgia that Jesus Christ. I wish I had some kind of nostalgia power. My balls would be getting licked all the time because this is just fucking stupid. Like,
what's that game that was the exclusive zombie game on the PS4?
Which one?
I'm not quite sure.
Which one?
I don't know. They have
Was it
more
that?
than one exclusive.
Was it that? Well, they have. What the hell is that? That H1Z1 or whatever it is.
Yeah, that one's going to be coming to Xbox One because
it's not even on PS4 yet. Yeah,
Sony was making that, their studio was, and then they sold off
Sony
the studio.
Online Entertainment.
Yeah, and that's how they made that profit last quarter. I remember people like messaging me about it. Hey, look, they made money. I'm like, you realize that
Sony
the
do
money.
good.
Yeah, Sony do good, right? This is what happens. You notice this comes up a lot of times. Sony does this before they have to come out with their profit margins. They did that. They sell buildings. They sell buildings before these come out. They sell developers. They do whatever they can.
The Corleys are coming. Sell the Lambos.
Check this out.
Yeah.
So check this out.
That's how
I
they,
did a video about that a couple of days ago too. How like look, Sony didn't pay for Shenmue. They got the cost going to the fans so that they can make the game and then sell it back to the fans. I went to watch a Sony movie and they're co-producing that with other movie studios now. They sold off their buildings. They sold off the Vile division that does their PCs.
they're closing down the phone division.
They sold off half of it to Ericsson, and they took they had an LCD plant and an LED plant, and they sold off the LED plant for their TVs, and then
They stopped supporting the Vita.
they stopped supporting the Vita. They stopped supporting one of their music service, and then on top of that, they have. I mean, they don't have GameStop doing it, but GameStop is now selling 2 terabyte hard drives for their console. So now Sony doesn't even have to come out with a new bigger hard drive or anything like that because GameStop's doing it for free. So they have to pay for nothing. They pay for absolutely
What
nothing.
is that deal, Food? Can you explain it to me? I did read it, but I just skimmed it. How are you getting a 2 terabyte PS4?
The GameStop takes the old PS4s that people are trading in, and they refurbish them. And then when they get it refurbished, instead of putting in the original hard drive, they're putting 2 terabyte hard drives in it. And a lot of people are actually getting on to me saying that that's not sales for the PS4, and I'm like, are you kidding me? It is, because that PS4 sitting on a shelf is not making them any money. But now that it's a 2 terabyte hard drive, it's going to seem more enticing over the Xbox, and then they're going to buy that thinking, oh, I have the best gaming console and shit. And the second that they buy one Blu-ray movie or a video game or anything digitally, Sony makes money off of it. Sony literally had another company beef up their console while they're sitting on the fucking couch twiddling their thumbs. They have to pay for nothing. They're paying for absolutely nothing, and they're making money.
Well, they were. GameStop was trying to do. You would think that GameStop would actually start to switch over more towards Microsoft now, since Microsoft. Originally, I could get why they hated Microsoft. Blah blah blah. DRM. We're not going to blah blah blah. We're going to lose money. I get it, right? But you have to just look back to last gen, where Sony was the only first party out of the big three to do a $10 online pass for their first party games.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So GameStop should actually still be holding a grudge against that, but they don't. Next of all, Microsoft has backwards compatibility, which means people are buying 360 games again, right? Like I see it myself. Like Xbox One owners go in there, they're like, "Hey, is this backwards compatibility?" I've seen it firsthand. People are talking about this a lot. As much as people as like the media, certain media or whatever, like I saw an article said, is it overrated? Is backwards compatibility overrated? You know what I mean?
Is that extra, 7,000 options overrated?
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
you fucking
I guess,
moron.
like, yeah, is it overrated? Or I saw this article today, I think it was on Games Radar. Microsoft can't promise 100% backwards compatibility. Well, no shit. You know why they can't? Because you have a lot of greedy companies out there that would rather, because there's the PlayStation as well that can't do it. They would rather repackage it, quote unquote, called a remaster, and put it out the door. And you know how, like, I'm totally fed up with the Sony fanboys, and it got to an all new low. And I was just thinking to myself, what do you argue with them for on Twitter, crap? Because there was this dude, and he messaged, and like it was the other week, and I think I talked about this on BGST, and he was on Twitter, and he was going on about how Gears Ultimate wasn't a remake, it was a remaster. And I guess the term's liberal, right? Like remaster could be a remake. Like DuckTales is remastered, but that's not like the 1980s NES game. That's just like they remade it. You could call it a remake, but they word it remaster. They word Gears on the thing as a remaster. But when Iron Wolf, who's a big Gears dude and a friend of the show, tweeted Rod Ferguson, who was the head of the coalition developers of Gears of War, he said, "Correct, Iron Wolf. We took everything back to the assets and did this and this. It's a remake, right? So it's not just a simple, like, remaster would be, I guess, what the God of War 3 situation is, or the Uncharted collection is, where you give it 1080p, and then you 60 frames per second, or you unlock the frame rate.
Just a port,
Yeah, it's
that's
basically
just a
a
straight-on
port.
dog shit port to the PS4.
Right. And with this Gears thing, right? What they're doing is they're adding online elements from Gears 2 and 3 because there was no ranking system in Gears 1 originally. There was no spotting system where you can spot them and click in on the thumbstick and target them. That's going to be in this. There's a lot of things in this that weren't in the other thing. Not to mention the updated graphics, because if you've seen them side by side, some of those earlier
different.
some of those earlier 360 games, like if you go back and play Saints Row 1 on the 360, you're like, Jesus, this looks bad. You know what I mean? Because those earlier 360 games, obviously it weren't looking as good as the later 360 games. Like if you look at Gears 1 and then Halo 4, there's a huge difference. And that's within 6 years of development and developers getting used to it and things like that. So I think that the fact when a developer comes out and says, no, this is a remake, but you still have the Sony fans arguing that it's a remaster, at that point you realize what you're dealing with. And I had an epiphany. I was like, well, from now on, they're not even getting my time of day. It's just an automatic block because I can't deal with people that think like that. I mean, who thinks? The developer himself tweeted, you know what I'm saying, which is another great thing because guess what? Phil Spencer, Aaron Greenberg, Rod Ferguson, all these people, Mikey Berra, they all message us and talk with us, and that's got to suck for Sony fans to see that type of interaction. Try to get that interaction with, the PlayStation dudes. You're not going to get it. And that's the bottom line because I said so. But yeah, I went on a little Stone Cold thing there, but hopefully nobody got it unless you were a fan in the '90s. But anyway, yeah. So it's that type of situation and that type of mentality that I can't stand with, and that's one of the reasons why I think I don't enjoy PlayStation stuff as much as, I could maybe, is because of the fan base. Do you guys have that problem with that fan base? Like they just totally turn you off the system. They ruin it for you.
Oh yeah, they make you want to punch a baby in the face. It's ridiculous.
They do.
And I don't even respond to most of them on my videos. I'll respond to certain PC elitist fanboys if they're worth the time. But most PS4 fanboys, no, I won't even fuck with because it's like arguing with a box of dog shit. There's just no fucking point. So, yeah, they want you to call Gears a remaster because, well, that's what God of War is called. And God of War, we all know that shit looks the same, just higher frame rate, 1080p. We all know resolution isn't really graphics, so it doesn't look all that much difference, just a bit clearer. But when they redo the textures, lighting, new particle system, everything is different with Gears of War. Even the cutscenes have been redone. It's safe to say it's a fucking remake.
Yeah, and to push that point a little bit more, Halo 2 Anniversary was a remake. You know what I mean? But then what they did with Halo ODST, that's a remaster where they just up it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Up the frame rate. And that's what I was trying to get the point across was that what they did with Halo 3 and Halo 4. Although I would argue that Halo 4 on the Master Chief Collection looks better than say Destiny or a lot of other current gen games. You know what I mean? That game looks fantastic. Yeah, I mean they did a good job because they did such a good job on the 360 version. So you tweak some lighting and you increase the frame rate, which is the biggest noticeable thing. And I've always said frame rate, everything else. Frame rate should be the first and foremost thing. Like everybody will say, hey man, look, Drive Club looks so good. You play it and it plays really slow. Now I know I'm the only one here with the PS4, but like you could tell. The first thing I could tell when I played the Gears Ultimate was it was 60 frames per second. I could tell it was that without being told. Unlike resolution, which nobody can really tell without being told. You know what I mean? Unless it's like a really low resolution, like 480 or whatever. But for the most part, like the first thing I noticed was, damn, this thing is smooth. You can turn around. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Halo. When you play the Master Chief Collection, that's the first thing you notice is this feels weird. It feels smooth. You can really tell that the frame rate's been upped. That's what I like. I'm a frame rate guy. I've never been a resolution guy. So for me, like when you play a game like Forza Motorsport and you get that 60 frames in a racing game, to me was always something you needed. Now, Forza Horizon is my favorite racing game, but for an open world game, I guess that's a little bit more forgivable than as opposed to a track racer. But for me, a track racer can't be anything less than 60.
Yeah, and the biggest thing, too, is you couldn't even hardly tell that Horizon 2 was running at 30 because it was locked. There's a big difference between locked and AC Unity, 2714, -4 frames a second, back to 25. Like, that shit was insane. So if
Well,
it's a lock 30, it's not that bad.
see, I'm a big Assassin's Creed fan, and I got Unity, but I couldn't play it at first because it was so bad.
Mhm.
Months later, I went back and played through it, and it was really, and they fixed most of that stuff, and it was really good. I enjoyed it. It just sucks that, in my opinion, I think that this generation has been a little bit hampered by a couple of things. One, an influx of really bad indies, with no way to really tell, because weren't we all promised demos of everything? We were,
Yeah.
weren't we?
We were promised a lot of shit.
Well,
Yeah, we were. And I named this podcast, who's delivered the promises. I think it's obvious that Microsoft, as far as gamers has, they've really pulled back away from the TV stuff, right? They don't even it's not even called Xbox movies or music anymore, right? Xbox is gaming. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Which I like. I like the Groove name, it sounds cool, whatever.
Yeah.
But and they're even pulling back even further from that, where PlayStation has PlayStation View. They're the ones that are kind of pushing that agenda, which is odd to me because they actually sent out these things saying, "Hey, we use your TV too for gaming,"
Yeah.
right?
PlayStation is now doing the exact thing that everyone feared Microsoft was going to do in 2013. Their focus is on TV with View. They have they're showing things like their powers and their TV shows, and they have no games. So people were concerned in 2013 that Microsoft was going to have no games debuting at any of the E3s, that they were just going to focus on TV. The coins, everything is completely flipped, and it flip-flopped immediately. This wasn't like you said, well, you know what, it happened over time. It happened immediately because this is the third Christmas that they have nothing coming out. Nothing.
Yeah. It's unforgivable. Let's look at their Christmas releases, okay? At the launch, you had Knack and Killzone, and that was it. That was it, right? How could anybody in their right mind, if you're a fucking gamer, go to the store? Okay, let's see here, la-li-da-li-da, Knack and Killzone, or I could look over and see Microsoft, Rise, Son of Rome, Forza Motorsport 5, Dead Rising 3, Killer Instinct, Zoo Tycoon. You know what I'm saying? You had so much variety. There was something for everything. Even if you were a Connect dude, every Xbox One came with that Wake Race game or whatever it was that was like you could get it early, or that even though it wasn't a great game, you could still use Zoo Tycoon, which I actually like, or that Fighter Within. So at least they had stuff and exclusives to use, and that wasn't even counting some of the downloadable stuff like Max Curse of the Brotherhood came really soon afterwards, and then in March, so only 3 months later after launch, you got Titanfall, and you had Crimson Dragon and Loco Cycle. So you had a lot of stuff at launch, whereas on Sony's side, you had literally nothing.
Sony really...
go ahead, Mitch. Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, speaking of Rise, how the fuck is that still the best-looking game on the X1 almost 2 years later? That blows my mind.
That's going to be dethroned, I believe, by Tomb Raider. I
don't know. Rise, Crytek burned boxes. That's what they do, and they did all of that with underdeveloped SDKs, without the 10% from Connect. It's insane that game is still if not the best-looking game of the generation, top two. That's nuts to me.
How about this hypocrisy over here with the PlayStation View and nobody giving it flack because it's about the TV, and then also in 2003 they came out with the PSX in Japan, which was also a television DVR with television features and capabilities and stuff like that. But
they promised the PS2.
Xbox
they promised the PS2 to do that stuff, to go. It was going to be, you were going to get keyboard support and all this stuff. And you know what else? I just want to point this out. Last week, people were bitching. I don't want keyboard and mouse support on the Xbox One. I don't want it, right? Even though Phil Spencer clearly said it would be for streaming games from PC to your Xbox One, which, again, that's a big story right now, is that's going to happen. Could that actually be a blow to the PC fanboy race? Probably.
You know who's complaining about that? Two people. There's the person who's never owned an Xbox One. They're saying that, and then journalists who own PlayStation 4s. Those are the only two people saying that. Everybody else that I know, actual owners of the Xbox, they're like, "Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. I can see why that's useful." Why no? What did a keyboard ever do to you?
You know what's interesting though, right? Keyboard and mouse is not really something new because the Dreamcast had it. I have them.
And the Wii does it.
That stuff.
The Wii has keyboard support.
So the interesting thing is, right? That Microsoft isn't going to let you play. They're smart enough to know not to let people with keyboard and mouse play against controller because it's an unfair advantage. Now, Sony, I think they have an official keyboard and mouse coming out. And I saw an article, it's like just in time for Black Ops 3, keyboard and mouse. But, you know what I'm saying? And now you don't hear anybody say anything bad about it. You know what I mean? It's like nobody's saying anything like, oh, well, that sucks, or we don't want that. You know, it's like such a hypocrisy. And a lot of people, like, message me, right? They're like, well, why do you care that the media is biased, or why, you know what I'm saying? And this is a typical thing. You can tell it's a Sony fan that says it's just because it's not right. You know, apathy, no matter what it is, this might not be a big deal because it's just gaming, but I think in general apathy is wrong no matter what it is. If you believe in something or you're passionate about something, you shouldn't be quiet about it. You know what I mean? I'm a big football fan, so, you know, I talk about that a lot. You know, I'm a big gamer, I talk about that a lot. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't want my team to get screwed, and I would speak up about that. I don't want the company that I prefer and the box that I prefer to get screwed, and it seems like there's an agenda against them. And again, I don't have to explain the media bias because it's not like Sony's outright, quote-unquote, paying for stuff, right? Although they do pay for ads and stuff to run on these sites, but these sites are all paid for with AdSense clicks. And let's be honest, the internet has more PS4 fanboys than Xbox fanboys.
Well, yeah, but look at what's crap,
you
but there is
pander.
some obvious things. Of course, they're not actually doing the old 1920s mafia white envelope payoff, but what they are doing, okay, you guys all, anybody who watches YouTube can see that Naomi Kyle and the other person, I can't remember the other person's a nobody, but they're on IGN. They both do PlayStation commercials, okay, number one. Number two, every single set, keep a good eye whenever you watch anything that's on IGN. They're all Sony TVs. And, you know, everybody there is like, oh, I'm broke. I don't make any money here. I'm you know, freelance journalist. Everybody's a fucking freelance journalist like Peter Parker. But let me tell you right now, every one of them's got a fucking Sony. They're all flying all over the place. They all got engraved PS4s with their names on it. Listen, this is the reason the mainstream media, okay, the NBCs and ABCs, CBSs of the world, they're not. This is not enough for them to send Walter Cronkite over to IGN, okay, to do a feed. But you know, but at the same time, but that's why this is a powerful feed unit in IGN and Polygon, these guys, GameSpot, and nobody's calling them out. So that's why myself, Crap, Zaire, Dealer, Food, you know, you've got to go ahead and vocalize it, because it is, now we're starting to get that word out. It's slowly starting to get out there. People are starting to see that. You made a great point 30 seconds ago, Crap, with the keyboard and mouse. The minute Microsoft mentions keyboard and mouse, they aren't even talking about gaming. They're like, yeah, we're thinking about it. They're like, well, there goes the fair play right out the window. Right out the window. Everything's out. Like you said, now Sony actually puts out, you know, that leak came out, and Sony can't wait. They're like, that's great. Yeah, that's ours. Their keyboard and mouse is coming out. And like you said, it's people are like, I can't wait to get one of those. And here's what I said. Here's what I said on BGST last week, guys. Don't tell me. I don't care if you're a pony. I don't care if you're a bot. Don't ever tell me that every single soul that works for any media, every single media outlet in California, because they're all located out there. I'll never understand why people aren't coming back to New York. The fair weather, that's one thing, but everyone's out in California right now, and that's a different mentality. I think that's the other thing. Everybody walks out there like you're not getting your... New Yorkers, by the way, go to California, you can pickpocket everybody. Their heads are in the cloud. But I was going to say, they literally have every soul on tape saying that they love Sony. How can you tell me that there's no such thing anywhere? Anywhere. You go down the streets of New York, not everybody loves the Yankees. You know, some people like the Mets. Some people hate the Yankees just on purpose, like Boston. There's always somebody that doesn't like something. Every journalist is a Sony fan. There's something going on that's underwritten. It's not necessarily a payoff. It's something that is like some sort of code that we haven't broken yet on the YouTube level. There's something happening why they all love it. Because nobody... And I asked this question. I want to ask Dealer, and I'll ask you, Food. This is a question for yourself as well. Dealer and Food. Who comes to mind, because I already asked Crap this, who comes to mind in the media that you know is a hardcore, not an Xbox employee, that is a hardcore Xbox guy that you go, I'm going to tune into that major publication because I can't wait to hear what he has to say? Is there anybody?
You know, I think I know what the problem is. Ultimately, it's the power brick. The power brick.
No, they can't find the setting.
It's a fucking power brick on the.
It's the power. They
can't find the setting. That's what it is.
Well,
Luch, you had a you said this a few weeks ago or whatever, and I think you're right. You're just I don't know if you take it to heart, but I do. Like, you got to remember that these are 27-year-old guys. They're my age, right? They have iPhones. So they don't care about Windows phones. They have Macs. They don't use Windows. They have a PlayStation. They don't use an Xbox. In their mind, there is a pointless entity in business, and they want to get rid of it because it's the enemy of their tech company that they love so much, you know? And they grew up in the 90s, just like I did, and they chose PlayStation. So the nostalgia is in their minds, and they're sticking with that joy that they had. You know, with me, I had the same joy that they had. When I was growing up in the 90s, I went from Sega to PlayStation because that's what I got. I loved it so much. I got the PS2 because of that. You know, then I accidentally played an Xbox, and from there it was history. But these guys, they're still, they had the same experience that I had, except they didn't have that Xbox moment. They just went from PS2 to PS3 to PS4, and they will blindly serve that nostalgia because that's what they're holding on to, and so they're just attacking it, just like a bee in a beehive. One bee starts attacking you, the other bees don't know what the fuck's going on, but they're like, I'm gonna attack you.
Well,
Yeah,
do you guys
good
know
point.
of any? Do you guys know of any like non-biased or anybody that you can at least stand a little bit, right? As far as you know, they might be legitimate Xbox fans or users. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to think of any that I might know. You know,
Now,
that,
the quote-unquote
Yeah,
largest
there is.
Xbox podcast in the world has mostly some Sony guys on it. So
Hey, Mooch, tell us who your least favorite person is on Podcast Unlocked.
Without a problem, Destin, the douchebag, Legary. You know what? Literally, there's going to be a problem when I get to E3 next year if that kid's there. I just can't. No, I mean, of course, I just want to go up to him and I want to say, like, just tell me what the hell, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what are you talking? Like, how can you have the goal? He constantly gets on. Listen, it's all over Twitter right now. People are like, why are you watching? I stopped watching Podcast Unlocked about 3 months ago. And it took a while because I was like getting, there was a time where I thought Ryan was coming around. I thought he was going to give a little bit more Xbox press and push the envelope. He actually pushed Destin one episode where Destin went into a Halo rant and was making fun of Master Chief Collection. And Ryan tapped him on the shoulder and he said, all right. And he's like, they fixed it. He's like, it's fixed. Let's move on. And I thought, hey, I said, maybe we're making some strides here. Literally the next week, Destin Legary's talking about how great the PS4 is, how he's playing Destiny on that. He won't bring the Xbox from one place to the other. It's a hassle. It's a pain to carry. The PS4 is easy to bring around. Nobody's carrying their console anywhere. Okay, you take it out of the box, you plug it in your entertainment center. The next time you take it off, you see 8 layers of dust in the back. It's not moving from wherever the hell you put it. It sits there for an entire generation, people.
Yeah.
So he is an absolute
the problem I have
douchebag.
with that is, Destin is a huge douchebag who's in the Xbox podcast but spends all his time playing Destiny on PS4. And then you have Mitch Bitch Dyer, who spends all of his time talking about Dota 2 like 24/7.
Nobody gives a fuck about.
Exactly.
Who watches your fucking podcast?
Who gives a shit, right? Like, they started their own PC
Like,
podcast.
at least talk about Smite primarily. At least that's on it.
Yeah, at least, exactly. Like, what the hell is this guy like? And I used to follow these guys on Twitter, but every 2 seconds you see Mitch Dyer tweet out something about Dota 2, and I was like, I can't stand it. That's what I said. It was like one time, it was like so much. I was like, I gotta stop following this guy. The only one that I can follow is that Finnegan guy. And I used to follow Ryan, but then I mentioned something about his comment about the PS4 is a beast to Phil Spencer, and he blocked me. So, I mean, look, I don't care if you're an Xbox podcast specifically, especially if you're saying we're the #1 Xbox podcast, which, you know what, I liked his podcast with the 3 Xbox bosses, but he had little to do with that. I mean, anybody could have went in there and did that. Yeah, it was like basically, you know what I'm saying, I could have even done that. I could have done a much better job than that because I would have asked some tougher questions. But, and you can't really watch it because they were even putting down Tomb Raider. You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, Tomb Raider, he was the one that was saying that Tomb Raider being an exclusive was a bad move and bad for this and bad for that and a stupid move. And all this, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
but they enjoyed on front page. IGN had a celebration plus a video of how great Street Fighter V is.
Oh yeah, I mean Street Fighter V is the best thing ever. Oh, except for the
But
fact
it's
that
exclusive.
the
So I
beta
don't
did
understand.
the beta didn't work. I did get a kick out of the Screw Attack video. Is it good? Is the Street Fighter V beta good? And they're like, they go into this like minute-long thing about how they're excited for it, and then they're like, so is the beta good? And then it just shows them with the connection error, saying they can't connect to the servers. And then he picks his PS4 up and breaks it, throws it down outside, and smashes it. Like it was a really good video. Mooch, you should watch it because you'll get a kick out of that.
Yeah. Well, how old is it?
It just came out.
Oh, okay.
The video
I
just came
send me
out.
the
It's
link.
about.
I have like not been home for a day, so I'm out. Like I was even asking you about some things earlier today. I was like,
Yeah,
I've been out
like
of it
like
for
the
a minute.
scale bound situation. Yeah, I get it. Not really a big deal. Now, what do you guys think about the games for gold and PSN Plus type situation? Like, I'm not a PlayStation Plus subscriber anymore. I thought I
What,
had a year,
what
but I
games
guess I
did
only
they
had
get
6 months.
this month coming up? Crap.
I'll tell you right now.
On
No,
Xbox,
no. PS Plus. What they get?
PS Plus is hold on, what the hell did they get? They got Lara Croft and the Temple of
Osiris.
whatever it is
Osiris.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on PS3 you get God of War Ascension. Um, yeah, so basically, oh, you get fucking Limbo on PS4 as well. Like for me, I'm not a big fan of that game, so having it on another platform is not really a big deal. But that's not really great. You know, Castle Storm Definitive Edition. I think we've already got that on
Yeah, we
Xbox
already got
One.
that.
Limbo, let's see, yeah, so Stealth Shapes, God of War. It's like basically the big one for PS4 is the Lara Croft game, and the big one for PS3 is God of War Ascension. Now on Xbox, it's some survival game or whatever, and then the Metal Gear demo or whatever. And look, I bashed the Metal Gear demo when it was on PlayStation, and I'll bash it now. It's a demo. You can beat it in like 10 minutes. I have it already, so it's not a big deal to me. I do like that Microsoft has stepped up their games and kept it at least a bigger name title. And then again, the 360 games that literally just killing it. I mean, I can understand why that console is still relevant 10 years later because, I mean, I download all the games that they come out, and the cool thing is, with that is like I bought a 500 gig hard drive, and I might have to get a new like 1 terabyte external for it since they added the support. Imagine if they had done that from the beginning. You know what I mean? Like they were so restrictive with that damn thing. But even games that I already own physically, if they come out with a digital version like Gears 3. I downloaded that even though I own the disc, just because now whenever I want to play it, I just can. You know what I'm saying? It's cool. It's cool to do that. I do that on Xbox One too. Like I have EA Access, so when I wanted to play Madden, which I own the physical copy, since I'm with EA Access, I don't actually need it. Same thing with Plants vs Zombies, which I saw you on that the other day, Mooch. You should have hit me up. I would have joined.
I'll definitely. Yeah, but actually, believe it or not, that's a great game to play with the family. That's what we generally do. We grab the controllers, put them out, and like my son will play. We just kind of pass that around. We play that as a family. It's a great game, man. It's a lot of fun. To this day, it's still a game that we still pick up and play the game. I'll definitely hit you up, crap. That's something that like I was bringing up a point like last week when we were talking that Microsoft getting these exclusives. When Microsoft got that game, that was hot, right? It was a big deal. Sony got it, and it was nothing. When PS4 got it, it was
and it was only like
trash,
6 months later or whatever. Yeah,
it was 6 months.
Yeah. Because you know what, in the gaming world, like, look, like you brought up a great point, dude. Batman, who's talking about that game anymore?
It's dead. Nobody talks about it. I'm not saying that's not belittling it. It's a great game.
It's not. It is. Like I love that game. In fact, I just played through the Batgirl DLC. It was a little short, but I liked it. I mean, just because I thought it was so much fun. You know what I mean? Like to me,
right.
That game is just like it's fun because it kept you interested. It threw you some achievements on like The Witcher 3, which was like the bane of my existence. I was just playing that game for 5 hours one time in a row, and I was just like, just give me one, please. Give me one goddamn achievement. Come on, man.
I play an hour and a half to 2 hours a night in Witcher, and I have like 10 achievements. It's awful. It is
exactly
awful.
Like Jamie Moran, that dude. He he plays it. He plays it, you know what I'm saying, 100 hours or whatever, and has like 120 gamer score or whatever it is. Okay, So hold on, let me see here. Podcast Unlocked has Tomb Raider on their cover, and Podcast Beyond has it on their cover too. That's nice.
Yeah, they both do. Yeah, they both do.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that there's been a little bit of change anyway. That was my original point as far as PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live. Microsoft has stepped their game up, and with backwards compatibility, again, that gives them an extra advantage because the games that they put over, could actually do that. And another thing I want to point out as well, Microsoft has been doing really good with their digital sales and stuff. I've been really kind of impressed with, because they've had some really big games go on sale for a cheap amount of price, and that's usually the only time I buy digital games. And I was looking at the PlayStation stuff because I'm not adverse to buying something just to have it on there if they ever came out with something that was a really good deal. But the stuff that they have for sale during their sales are just like indie stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, and I don't have fun with that. Like that Tembo the Badass Elephant, that's made by like a really good team, but that gets lost in the shuffle of numerous indie titles. You see what I'm saying? Why that's bad? I think that was made by the Sonic team or something, right? Or like a really good, well-known dev team that did some good games, and you would miss it because if you're like me, because you're just tired of the constant shit shuffle of indie games, right? So you see all these shit indie games and it gets lost in the shuffle. That's where I think it hurts the developers and stuff. That would have been considered a Summer of Arcade game or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically, you guys the first good Sega game in a long time.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? And I, like an idiot, was like, hey, this is just another stupid indie game. And it's not. It's like an arcade game. Like, I wish that there was a distinction. You know, don't you guys miss that? Like, the distinction between, I understand.
They used to feed you out the achievements crap. They used to actually, like you said, as progression continued through the game, they'd feed you this, feed you that. There's still games that do that, but then there's these few, and GTA 5's guilty of it. The Witcher's guilty. I actually, the other night when I was playing Witcher, I said X1 snap achievements, and I'm reading, and I was hoping when I popped it up, I was going to see progression charts. There's none. Because there was nothing progressed at all. It was kill 100 enemies with, and it said like the 3 different distinctions all in one combination. And I'm like, how the hell do you even do that? Like, I've been playing this thing for almost 65 hours. I have no idea how to even do that move. Like, I don't think I'm gonna get anywhere over 15 achievements even after I beat this thing.
Yeah, if you notice, it's always the massive games like Skyrim, The Witcher, games with a fuck ton of content. They're still limited to that 1,000 gamer score. So they've got to spread that out.
That's
it's not
true.
like Batman. Batman, you can blaze, I've already got, 1,000 gamer score in Batman.
Yeah, I got like 800, 900 on there.
Yeah. The fuck out of that.
Yeah, I did too. So yeah, I agree. Like it was like that. But what's interesting is, like, for me, I'm not greedy, but if I play, by the time I just start and play through a game, I want to have 400 to 500 gamer score just by, that was always my problem with, like, Grand Theft Auto games, like the newer ones, and Red Dead Redemption, right? I really like the idea of Red Dead Redemption, cool, right? Cowboy, doing this kind of stuff, but I'm playing it, and I'm like 15, 20 hours in, and I've got like 10 gamer score, and I was like, huh, you know what I mean? I remember just thinking,
really do make you want to keep going. Like,
I guess I'm in the minority.
It makes you feel better about playing the game. It makes you want more.
Yeah,
like that sounds retarded to a lot of people, but it's the case.
Did you beat that game, Too Much Food?
No, I was just saying, like, I guess I'm in the minority when it comes to this, because, like, I get excited when I see I have very little gamer score because it makes me feel like I have way more of a game to venture on. Like, when I get closer, I'm like, damn, I'm almost done with the game.
Yeah, that is a good way to look at it. But, like, for me, like, I've been playing. I'm trying to get 100,000 gamer score. I'm like 90, almost at 96,000 now. Like, I'm pushing for that. So I've been, like, trying to play some games that'll toss me some easy ones. I picked up Murder Soul Suspect because I beat it on 360. It's only about 8-hour game, and it'll toss you like 600 or 700 gamers. Right?
That come with a free case of no-dos, right?
Of what?
That
No,
game,
no.
honest to God, if they just asked me to play an hour of that game for 1,000 gamer, I would not play that game. God
Dude,
bless
What about No
you're
Man's
talking
Sky?
to the, hey, you're talking to the guy who bought Lost, the video game, on 360.
So you're that guy.
Yeah,
We found him.
They made a
bought it.
profit on your copy, by the way.
They did. I bought it new. But not for $60. But it was $20 by the time I got it, and I did buy it new for 20, and I
Did you
think I
like
got
the
like
ending?
no. It was like the show.
The game.
Oh no, I couldn't even. I don't even remember. It was the cheesiest game, and the voice actors weren't from the show, so they all sounded really bad. And the first thing you hear is the guy yelling for his son Walt. And he's like Walt,
Walter.
and that was Walt, yeah. And I was like, that was my least favorite part of the show.
You know
So,
who my
I mean,
favorite character was? Vincent, the dog.
Yeah, like he's like disappear. I could get into a whole thing about TV and stuff. One day I should like break off and like do entertainment stuff.
Have
'cause I
you
got a lot
watched
to say.
Daredevil on Netflix?
Oh,
I've
my
watched
God.
the first.
Oh
I've
my
watched the
God.
first 4 or 5. I really enjoying it so far.
Amazing.
So yeah, I know
Great
Mooch is.
show.
I know Mooch is into it. You know what I like about Netflix is what they're doing is like it brings a whole new. We all went going from games to this, but okay, just real quick. I like what they do because when I was younger and shows got canceled and stuff, that was pretty much it. Now there's these different mediums that can bring these shows back or whatever. You know what I mean? If there's enough content, like Arrested Development's getting another season. You've got Netflix that has Adam Sandler signed to like a 5-picture deal. These are
We
viable
get
outlets.
five new crappy movies. Okay.
Yeah, exactly,
Oh,
exactly. I mean,
He's
and
got
I
so
was,
much potential.
I
but he
was
just
actually,
gave
I was,
up.
yeah, I was actually interested in Pixels because I like the old school
Don't
games.
watch it.
No, is it bad?
I watched it and it was really insulting as a gamer because it's done by Sony. So there's a lot of Sony products, cell phones and TVs, and then the kids like, man, can you help me hook up my PlayStation 4? And then also
Yeah, and then they just
insulting
make fun of gamers the whole
yeah,
time, right?
Yeah, they
Losers.
keep calling they keep calling gamers losers. I have no real skills. They kept saying, or no, there was a scene where he was like, I know you don't have real skills, but. And he was like, yeah, I know I'm a loser. Like, they kept mentioning over and over how you are pathetic, you're nothing if you're a gamer. It's really
Oh my gosh! So you're basically what you're telling me, and is it like it's probably not really faithful to actual games either, right? Like I hate like you never watch TV shows or whatever, and they have people pretending to play games or whatever. They don't really know anything about it, right? Or they're just pushing buttons or whatever. You know what I mean?
They're calling gamers losers. Of course,
Well,
they
that
don't.
used to be
they
that
don't.
used to be the old thing, right? Gamers were losers in their parents' basement or whatever, never came out of the house or whatever. You know what I mean? And so. We're starting to get away from that, thankfully. But then I guess movies like that don't do us any favors, or like the media when people do violent things and then it gets linked to games or whatever. That's an unfortunate situation as well. But at the end of the day, again, I've compared Adam. Like whenever I do these comparison things, I'm like, hey, guess what? Adam Sandler makes money. Justin Bieber makes money, PlayStation makes money. Just because something sells well or people buy into that doesn't make it good. You know what I mean? That's probably the best way I can kind of say that. And I've liked some Adam Sandler movies back in the day, but
I've actually always. I'm going back to gaming real quick, but anyone who doesn't have a console yet, and you see all of the lemmings and the sheep walking to the left, try walking to the right. There's a reason not everybody's doing well in the world is because everybody just follows the other person. Like that's the other thing people don't realize is I'm going to switch this back to gaming real quick. I can't fathom. I'm just reading all these these tweets on Twitter and the features that are coming. Windows 10 released today, and wow, what an amazing just carbon footprint we've begun with Windows 10. And what you're getting on day one. We all know with any OS, any operating system, from phone to PC, that the first day shows you some of the wow, glitz, and glamour, but then some of the real hands-on, polished shit comes out later on. And Windows 10 is so... I mean, everyone is giving it praises. I didn't see anything under a 9 out of 10 today from some of the hardest critics. And I'll tell you, this is... Microsoft has implemented Windows 10. We're going to see it in a few months. We're getting a whole new dash. We're going to be getting 50 to 60% speed increase on the Xbox One. You're going to get Cortana. You're going to get a better snap ability. The snap is going to be much more seamless and quicker. Then you've got 1, 2, 3. We counted 4 new IPs coming next year. You've got 3 major titles coming starting in September. 2 rare, I used the wrong word. 1 is rare, 1 is Gears. I was saying nostalgic games that are coming out that just embrace the Xbox One. And I'm just getting long-winded in talking about
we got
this.
5 major exclusives coming out this year.
Yeah, we absolutely. But I'm saying, in all honesty, what does PlayStation have? Tearaway?
That beta that didn't work.
That's the thing, man. That's the thing, Mooch. Like, you said all that stuff, right? And all you did was waste a minute and a half of your life because you're not stopping that kid. I went to Best Buy 2 weeks ago. You're not stopping that kid that I overheard trade in his Xbox One, and he was getting a PlayStation 4. You know why? Because they were getting Call of Duty to advertise it, and they're getting the maps a month ahead of time. He said, and I quote, "From now on, it's PlayStation." I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you make valid points, but it doesn't matter. It's like, he's like
from now on, it's Call of Duty offline.
It doesn't matter.
Figure out.
Being a
I love this exclusive map.
Being a Microsoft, yeah, I know, right? Being a Microsoft fan, it has showed me more than anything that to children, which pretty much are the market, to me, they are the market because when they want something, they ask for it, and their parents get it. They don't care. Their parents, they're worried about paying bills. They're like, what did my son ask for? A fucking dildo. Let me get him one. So, so these kids,
what am I doing? I ain't buying it.
It's all about being cool.
Borrow it from your mom.
It's all about being cool. It's not about having an actual solid product. You know, that's why I say Apple will be around for a while because it's about being cool. You know, Sony will be around for a while, and they'll continue to sell products like hotcakes because they are cool. They don't care about actually working. It's what their friend has. It's when they have a friend come over, they're like, "What do I have? Oh, I have a PlayStation." You know, it's a stigma.
I happen to be. I mean, everyone knows I'm a Microsoft fan. And this is kind of an oxymoron, but I'm also an Apple fan. And the only issue I take a little bit, and it's nothing to do with you, Food. A lot of people say this every day to me on Twitter, and it's all over the news feeds. But like Apple's hype and popularity.
It's for a reason.
I get that. Yeah, but it is for a reason. Their shit does work. First of all, and not only that, but they do put the time and quality into their design. They're one of the only companies. Let's call spade a spade. Okay, they put an amazing amount of time and money into making their operating system software work really well, and their hardware looks good. Now, Microsoft, in my personal opinion, as of today, this is just as of today, I think they put all of their eggs in the software, and they're just starting with the new leadership to find out that people do like think about vehicles. Let's forget about game console. Let's talk cars, okay? Cars is another good nerve to strike with a lot of guys that are listening right now. You want your inside of your, the pit of your car to look amazing. You want your dash to look great. You want to have your the whole console, mid-console section look amazing. But let's be honest, even though you're sitting in the car and you never really see it, the outside has to look good too. And one of the things that myself personally, I thought the reveal on May 20th was amazing because I love the features. I love the software they brought to I was shocked that they could have made it just as big, but they could have made it a little bit sexier. And Microsoft doesn't necessarily pay attention to the exterior. Now, Sony, okay, here's the bash on them. They're the complete opposite. And in this world, I thought that would be the lesser of the two evils, or the worst of the two evils. They put all their attention on the detail of the outside and the hardware, and they have the UI on the PS4 is almost identical to the PS3, and it's not going to change, guys. It's going to be the exact
It's the same from 2003.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the same until 2021. So they're the other, but so like my only gripe is a lot of people keep saying, well, Sony's riding the hype and the great train just like Apple did. Well, Apple took its lumps for years. Apple was always this like second-rate company coming up through the 80s and 90s, and they went through their stumble and they fell, and then they just kind of like
if it wasn't for Bill Gates, then who actually owns a part of Apple, like what I mean, he makes money off of them too. So.
Sure.
Yeah.
Look, but yeah,
ultimately
the industry wasn't the same before 2007 and the iPhone.
I get
And
that,
from
but
there, everybody did their thing. But yeah, at least they have a reason to have a fan base. They kind of started this whole modern touchscreen smartphone renaissance that we're still in, obviously. But with Sony, it's like you did nothing but fuck up for the last 10 years, and you still got these dick riders that are just super glued onto your ass cheeks.
yeah,
So
but
it just doesn't make
I
any
get
sense.
Mooch's points about Apple. And don't worry, I'll make it work with Sony too. Like with Apple, they sell yesterday's product for tomorrow's prices. Like my camera on my phone is still better than the iPhone 6. Or yeah, we're on the 6 now. iPhone 6's camera lens, and I've had it for almost 2 years now. Like they sell old technology for the prices of tomorrow. They sell nothing new, and that's the
But
thing.
there are variables there too, though.
They're riding
So if you-
they're riding the hype, they're riding the coolness. And with Sony, it's the same thing. What do they have that differentiates themselves from the Wii U and the Xbox One? Like the Wii U has the gamepad and still the features of the Wii, and the Xbox One has Kinect and it can multitask, and people get onto the Xbox One for using GDDR3, correct? But GDDR3 is a multi-purpose RAM, and then here's the PS4, which everybody praises for having GDDR5, which is mainly for graphics, but here they are. They can't multitask. They don't have good voice integration. Their camera sucks dick. They don't have a gamepad feature. They have a touchpad. That's what differentiates themselves, is a fucking touchpad.
Dude, I think you make a good point. The only thing I want to just rebuttal real quick is taking that camera comment, okay, real quick. Listen, a really a well-known engineer, he basically said at one point, when you're talking about cameras on phones, okay, we're almost at the point right now where we're talking about like the 900p and the 1080p. The lighting, the shading, the lens engineering that Apple did on theirs, they didn't have to put the great camera in. They actually have third-party people who rate them and say that, like, literally the camera on the iPhone 6, you're right, you're 100%, your comment's right. But they actually engineered it to where they could up almost what Xbox is doing. Xbox games look just as good as the PS4 games, and the PS4 does technically have a better chip in the box. So what Apple actually did is more engineering genius. Is they've taken an older camera, they've enhanced other parts of it. Because guess what? Your camera on your phone, and I'm completely speculating, I have no idea what you have. Does your camera on the back of your phone protrude out of the back of it like like a good amount?
Yeah, it's slightly, and it's for
right, and,
it's for elite.
And the iPhone is
appeal.
flush, but it's flush, and that's more appealing because I don't need to have my phone bevel on its back. Listen,
but you had a phone. You have iPhone 6 phones bending in a pocket. So
no,
it's not
bending. I've had
that
an
was
iPhone
a
6
bunch of-
Plus.
that
That's
was
a bunch of bullshit. That's bullshit.
The guy, that motherfucker was
We got a
cracking
couple of-
bullshit, veins popping out.
We got a couple of
Yeah.
Apple guys in here.
I've had my iPhone 6 in my pocket, the Plus, since day one. And believe me, I'm all over.
Yeah,
That's
what about
good too. I mean,
and
that's the
what
best
about
part. We don't
the
gotta
antenna
agree on
bit?
everything, right? That's the best
Yeah.
part. But we do
Antenna
agree
bit.
that Sony's
I
up on a
got no
pedestal
problem,
for no
man.
reason.
You know what? I use a Windows phone. You know what I mean? I'm looking forward to their new batch that comes out because
I'm
I'll probably
looking
pick
forward to
one
the new
out. when
batches.
they-
But
too,
ultimately,
crap.
I'm an American product kind of person myself. So
I am too. I buy Chevys. I buy, but hey, you gotta watch it when you say that these days because apparently, being pro-America in America is racist.
Well, the best part of all
Right,
that
yeah,
is
that's
the best
racist,
part of
guys,
that,
yeah.
that people thinking that about me is I don't give a fuck. You can go fuck yourself.
Oh, exactly.
too.
So I'm
You
gonna
know
buy what I
that's-
want,
I'm
and
with
if I
you.
like American products, that's just how it is.
That's right.
Exactly, and I do the same thing too. Like, I'm happy. Like in my state, I don't know if it's like that around the U.S., but they're only allowed to sell American flags here that were made in America. Like a lot of people don't realize that in a lot of the other states and stuff, most of your flags are made in China.
You guys
know, it's
understand that Phil Spencer has walked onto the set of IGN, and you've got these guys that are wearing a $4 JCPenney's T-shirt, talking to him, and they're like, "So Phil, let's talk about the beast of a PS4, right?" Then you've got Yoshida comes on to the set. Looks like he looks like he just walked out of a dryer. He's all wrinkled, his clothes don't fit, and they're like, Yoshida-san, we have utmost respect for you, Yoshida-san. What the fuck? So it's okay for the Japanese to praise their product. You know what? Hats off to them. They should praise their own product. But why is it when we, and I'm not going to throw Dealer in there. I know I've watched a lot of Dealer shows, and I know Dealer is pro-American. Like, why is it when I say something like that, that's a negative comment? How is that a negative comment when I'm defending actually something that you should be proud?
Yeah, they just need to get on our level when it comes to that shit. You need to support your own country when it comes to some of this stuff.
It really is. Or at the very least, listen, it's also your American right to go out and buy a PlayStation, but at the very least, don't bash your own. Like, that's my point. It is your right to go buy that, but don't bash your own. Have respect. Think of it as your own family. You know what I mean? If you're going to say something about your family, you better say it behind closed doors. You don't say that shit out loud. It's just ridiculous because that's like so taboo in Japan. Like that's why nobody walks out of a store with a green box in Japan. They get
egged. And it's not like, oh, well, I would support American shit, but the Xbox sucks. You're insane. You know, anybody who's seen the Xbox One games knows they look amazing. The resolution problem obviously isn't here like it once was. Xbox Live is factually and statistically proven to be much better than PSN. Okay, we've got more third and first-party AAA exclusives, console exclusives especially. I mean, there is no real negative part to the Xbox One.
No, but you didn't hear the new thing that we don't have split screen in Halo, so that's the new negative thing.
Oh fucking no!
Oh god! Again, frame rate over everything else, right? I mean, look. Yeah. Tell your buddy to get an Xbox One and then get the game and you can play it together. You know what I'm saying?
One of my buddies to get it who came off of a PS4.
Yeah.
And he was like, I heard this thing was so weak, but the game looks so fucking same. I was like,
on my channel.
That's the thing because they make it think look, the perception is everything. Like it's so weak. But then say, hey, go play some Rise, Son of Rome, or play some Forza. You know what I mean? Or play, you know what I'm saying? Play some of these games because they're gorgeous and they play really well, and you can play online without problems. It's got a great controller and a great,
you got the Skype codec,
it's a great
chat.
company.
I mean, it sounds much better talking to you.
Exactly. And what's funny is Microsoft as a company has made so many strides to clear up their image everywhere, right? Like I saw it on the regular news today, local news, they're talking about Windows 10, right? I mean, Microsoft is really changing their image around, and I like that. But there's just the one more thing that's kind of that I hope that people start to come around to. Like there is no reason to hate on the Xbox One anymore. There's none, and I said that on the Less Bad Gamer Small Talk, and I still stick by it. What reason is there to hate on it at this particular juncture?
And they will bring up DRM. They will bring up DRM, and that's when you tell them to go look up Sony's patent.
2013.
Yeah, Sony has a patent with the PS4 to block used games that they did not implement, but they do not go look these things up.
And I did a video about that as well. I said, you know what? Sony fans are pissed off about being lied to. And the 100 thing, when I was doing that video, what I was looking up was they admitted to having the PS4 at a $499 price point, just like the Xbox One. Within the 8-hour difference between
Xboxes... With a shittier camera, by the way.
Yeah, they took the camera out last minute, and they told the retailers, hey, we're taking the camera out of the box, but we're not giving you a price point yet because they wanted to undercut Xbox. So that's basically what they did. They basically, on that day, removed the camera that was going to be forced on you, and then it was still going to be the same amount, right? It was going to be the same $500, but they took it out, and then they changed their stance and all this kind of stuff, and they managed to slip in the fact that, hey, you got to pay to play online nowadays, right? When they used to pimp the fact that they were free to play on there, the only free service or whatever, you know what I mean? And their paid service fucks up just as bad as the free service to
and
this
then there's
day.
The interview with Yoshida sitting there saying that it's up to developers if they want to enable the DRM bullshit towards the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, these idiots still believe that PlayStation never had DRM or the same plans as Microsoft.
PlayStation has more DRM in place currently than Xbox.
It does, because look at PlayStation Now, where PlayStation Now, right? 100% DRM. You have to have a constant stream, right? Same thing with PlayStation Plus. If you're not connected to the internet, I think it's within a week, you won't be able to access those games if you're not online because it's
but
DRM.
Nobody
There's
talks
a lot
about
of
that.
Yeah, the whole because it's PlayStation, right? And we've kind of covered that's kind of the facts. But anyway, I wanted to ask the audience that's listening if you guys have any questions you want to ask real quick before I wrap this up. Go ahead and ask in the comment section. Now would be a good time to do that. If you guys like the lineup, let me know in the comment section as well. If you like this current lineup, hopefully we'll continue to kind of organically grow and have a good time and stuff like that. And I'm thinking Wednesdays at 8 is a good time to kind of do a regular thing, kind of keep you guys on a schedule or whatever, because I know you guys. Not only you guys here, but the fans and stuff that watch. That's a good time. But anyway, Dealer Gaming, by the way, his channel is Dealer Gaming. Does a really good channel. Pro Xbox, cool guy. Make sure you guys subscribe to him. Mooch doesn't have a channel. He's like the procrastinator from hell. He's supposed to be getting. He's supposed to be making his channel
something
soon.
First week in August. I'll be out. I've already done a couple test runs. I'm doing something with another well-known person in the YouTube community. But when it's time to release, we'll definitely have something. Hopefully, it's very entertaining.
Well, what do you think will be? What do you think will come out first, The Last Guardian or Mooch's channel?
Great question.
Oh shit!
Great question.
That is a great question.
Awful delivery, but great question.
Yeah. I hope Mooch's channel.
Me too.
I hope it's Mooch's channel.
Root for Mooch myself.
I hope it's called Mooch's Smooches. That's all I want.
Oh.
That's all I care.
That's
That could be like a weekly show. Maybe Fridays.
Yeah.
Mooch's Smooch.
Where Mooch does a segment of which girls he'll kiss every week.
Yeah. That'll go over real great.
His wife ought to really like that. Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Kicks the door in, throws a flashbang in there, and starts beating the shit out of the
Number 1, Mila Kunis. Number 2, Jessica Alba. Number 3.
Cool. The comment section likes to mess up, so I don't think I'm gonna be able to answer any comments. So that's cool.
Up.
Is it? Yeah, it's like no comments to display. I'm like, dude.
Yeah, no,
what
it's
the hell?
messing up. I gave up.
Yeah. You know what I'm gonna do next week? Like if I set this thing to go, I could do a live comment stream where we can all see it or whatever on the thing. So hopefully maybe that's what I'll do next week. And Too Much Food, obviously his name on YouTube is Too Much Food with the number zeros instead of the letter O. And is there anything you guys want to talk about real quick in closing?
You go, Dealer, since you're guest.
Oh man, I want to say I appreciate the opportunity. It was good talking to you guys.
Oh,
yeah, man. You know what? I like your
always
channel.
Appreciate Crab coming on.
Yeah, like it's interesting, Dealer, because I don't like I'm kind of a jerk when it comes to like people follow me on Xbox Live and I don't really follow them back. I don't subscribe to a lot of channels on YouTube. Dealer Gaming is one of the ones that I subscribe to, have been for a while, so it's kind of cool. Like when people were like, "Hey, man, you should get him in your podcast." I was like, "Hell yeah!" You know what I mean? That's a good idea. So I mean, it's genuinely because I enjoy your channel, and same thing with like Mooch. Me and Mooch go way back like a year.
Yeah.
So yeah,
YouTube,
like
YouTube. That's like dog years. That's like 7 years in YouTube years.
It is.
What do you guys think about how this holiday it's pretty much going to be Gears of War versus Nathan Drake's?
Well, actually, Gears is coming out on the 24th of August, and then Nathan Drake is coming out. Do you mean next holiday?
And no, the remaster, the collection. Because both collections
the Gears
are coming
collection. Well, I think the Nathan Drake collection is coming out in September, isn't it?
Yeah, September, October. Basically, what's going to happen? I mean, if the media does their job correctly, which we already know this is not going to happen, hypothetically, Xbox games would just drown that Nathan Drake collection. But have no fear, you Sony fans that are trolling in the comments section. You're going to get just as much airtime as a brand new AAA from Microsoft. So congratulations. Enjoy that.
Yeah, dude. Especially that No Man's Sky. It's literally so boring that if it were a spice, it would be flour.
Flour. Wow, that's a bro. Well, you know what was funny was Journey was getting a lot of hype and play from the media, right? I'm like, how come Journey is getting more hype than Gears of War?
Are they charging people
like
the price for that game that have already bought it like fucking 5 times on the PS3?
You know what's getting more hype than anything is actually Rocket League's getting more hits on YouTube and Twitter than I think Halo, Tomb Raider, and
Sony
Forza
fans are
combined.
saying that it's exclusive and all this bullshit when there are already rumblings that it's coming to the X1.
Bro, you know what pisses me off about
I heard
this?
it was going to.
I don't know about you guys, but when I get home from work, I can't wait to hit a ball into an empty net. I'm really looking forward to that. I can't wait.
I'm
That's what you
excited
do
for
when
that.
you got
Day
zero
one buy.
AAAs that are worth a fuck. You hype up
Well,
games you could have played
Absolutely,
on a
dealer.
PS3.
Rocket League
Exactly.
is this year's Resogun, and that's
Yep.
taken directly from a headline on M4G. Rocket League is this year's Resogun, like this year's overrated indie game that gets
Yeah.
hyped up by the media because there's nothing else to play. That's basically what they should have called
Yes.
that, because that's what it is. But I did want to say one real thing before we wrap it up, since I can't do questions. I don't read Polygon, but there was this awesome article on there that was actually factual and well done. That was interviewing like Rod Ferguson and the whole like Black Tusk coalition. It was very lengthy. Kind of thing, explaining what went on. Rod Ferguson, as you guys know, was at Epic Games, and it goes into that thing where, like, what I thought, like, everybody's wondering what's going on with Epic Games, and Rod Ferguson kind of laid it on the line. He said they were bought, like, a majority share was bought by this Chinese company, and Rod Ferguson saw the direction that Epic Games was going, and this makes me like the guy even more. He said they were going to do, like, free-to-play stuff, things like that, right? He goes, I don't want to make that. He goes, I want to make big AAA games that people actually like, that people talk about, that's on magazine covers. That was his quote. I mean, that's badass to me, right?
Yeah, it is.
So anyway, he goes to he went and helped get BioShock Infinite out the door, and then he left there and went to 2K, and he wasn't really getting on well in 2K. Like, he didn't get along with them. So then he called up Microsoft and was like, hey, do you guys, know anybody? Are you guys hiring for anything? And they're like, hey, we're actually in negotiations to get Gears, the IP from Epic. And he's like, oh, you guys getting Gears? Count me in. So I mean, that's the kind of person you want on your team, right? I mean, that's like, to me, the guy's got a Gears tattoo, and like his name's Gears Viking on Twitter. Like, to me, that guy just is like, he doesn't, like, the Gears franchise couldn't be in better hands. But it was also interesting because there is a little bit of a sad part to this, and that is that Black Tusk Studios was a year and a half into development on Shanghai, and we didn't know that they were that far along. But apparently, Microsoft gave that studio a choice. They said, you guys can either do Gears of War 4, or you guys can keep on doing Shanghai. And I guess it was like a majority thing where they were like Gears 4. So a lot of people were under the impression that they were kind of forced to do Gears or whatever, but it was actually a majority type situation
Who the
where
fuck
they were
doesn't
given the
want to
choice.
do Gears? Like
Yeah,
they were
I agree.
dragged into
Yeah.
the closet and forced to make Gears of War. Like, of course they're
Yeah,
gonna
oh
fucking
God,
make Gears.
not Gears, not
Yeah,
Gears.
and that's the big
Yeah,
difference
I mean, come
between a lot of games and even a lot of music is the passion. And Rob is definitely passionate about that IP. He's one of the guys that's been there from the beginning. So it's in good hands.
Yeah, I just thought that was so interesting that that he was kind of serendipity or whatever, or luck, that he called Microsoft and was like, what are you guys doing? You guys hiring? And they're like, hey, we're about to buy Gears. You know what I mean?
Oh man,
I'm
gotta
sure
work
that
on
they
this
had went to
billion-dollar franchise. God damn
Yeah,
it! Like,
damn it. Oh man. And the funny thing is, I'm sure they went to Cliffy B too, but Cliffy B didn't want to do Gears anymore. He wants to do his own free-to-play garbage or whatever.
No, he's too busy having to
running
keep.
a restaurant.
No, he's too busy having to watch the girl that he'd probably lose if she was out of his sight for a half an hour.
Oh, did you see her, dude? Oh,
Yes,
Jesus.
we all have. What I was going to say was, in other uninteresting news that the audience doesn't care about, I was talking to Crap offline about Windows 10 and when it's going to be coming. I literally just sparked up my Surface Pro, and it's like, literally the window just popped up. It's like Windows 10 is downloading right now, so it's in progress, halfway done. That made my
that's
night,
good news.
dude. That's awesome. So I guess apparently, if anyone's wondering, if you did go and reserve your right to get Windows 10 anywhere in the past month or so, you should just see it starting to download randomly as soon as you activate the Windows 10 icon in your taskbar. So whether it's on your
hoping
PC
they announce it.
or your tablet.
Yeah, for Xbox and Gamescom, like when it's coming to Xbox. I hope they announce it at Gamescom.
I have a
I'm
feeling
sure that the
Crap-
preview.
August 15th. Wouldn't you expect we'd see it in August 15th preview possibly or something?
Well, yeah, probably preview. They're going to test that shit out for a little bit
Oh,
in preview
absolutely.
first. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like looking forward to that. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting time because, like I said, not only is Xbox big with the games this year, but again, the new UI with Windows and Cortana, all that cool stuff. So like, there's a lot of cool stuff coming, and that controller, like, geez, man,
Yeah, and you know,
that thing's
it's
so
not fair
sick.
It's not fair to not mention what Sony fans are getting. You're getting an update that helps you not brick your console from yesterday's update. So
it may be a
Yeah.
version of the Street Fighter V demo that
No, but
works.
what Crap was just saying,
Maybe.
actually, I don't know about you guys, but I ordered, I am not usually like a homer and just run out and go grab it day one and stuff like that, but I ordered that Elite controller the second it was announced, and I cannot wait. Now, originally the launch date for that was going to be October 31st, but it's been bumped up. Now it's October 6th. So,
Yeah, they want to get it out in time for Halo.
pretty
I mean,
goddamn
that's what that's
excited about
for.
the controller. Pretty goddamn
Yeah.
excited about the controller.
So hey, and we hit like 180. We hit like 180 viewers here tonight at the high point. So I appreciate all you guys checking it out. Also, I crushed 16,000 subscribers this month. So I'm very appreciative of that. I should probably do something where I just take questions and stuff from you guys sometime soon. But again, I'm really appreciative of it. And make sure you guys subscribe to Dealer and to Mooch when he gets his channel up, and Too Much Food, all good Xbox dudes. And check out Big Gamer Small Talk on Sunday on Next Gen's channel. Keep it gaming, keep it Xbox. It is the best box. Catch you guys later. Out.